Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Chess Battle City in JavaScript. We will talk about assets and how to manage them. So among the assets you may have are the following: images, sounds, and JSON files. Okay, so I have prepared one of each to make this demonstration, starting with the sprite sheet presented here. The red and the green marks are just for explanation and will not be in the actual image. The actual image is shown here. So in this image we have numbers from 0 to 9 in pixel font, letters from A to Z, a dot, a column, and a dash. Two tanks in yellow, two in green, and four that are the enemies. Two of them, one the regular and the speedy one. 1 2 3 4 5 tiles, two that are the water, and three types of bullets: red, green, and blue. So far, what is important to us is that we know the location and width or height of each element that we want in the image. So if you want to take the yellow tank, the first one, we need to know which x and y it started and what is the width and height of it, also for all of the numbers. So for that we will make a JSON file that will be our map to each of them. For now, let's talk about loading an image. This would be the final demonstration. I will go to it later. How to load an image? We have several ways to load it. Either we add an HTML tag in the index.html with the source to the actual image, or a base 64 string representation which represents the image, or using JavaScript, which is our way. So loading an image can be done through this. We define a constant image new image. We add an event listener to the load of it. We handle the loaded image, and we assign the source where the image is. We can also add an event listener to upon failure. So if we could not load the image, we can handle that also. Okay, so a good way would be using a promise. So if we want to like make something before and something after, so we like make a call for the function and then handle the obtained image, or handle the error just in a few lines. So we create a function that will return the promise. Sorry for that. That would return the promise and handle the resolve and reject. So if an error occurred, a callback function will be called, and if a load success, a callback will be returning the image. Loading JSON is handled using fetch. We give it the URL, we await the fetch, then we await using the JSON, because the fetch will return a promise that in turn return an R, which is the response. The R will be also used to make another promise returning that JSON file. So I have prepared a asset map.json so to contain what we will be including from the image that is here. We have the letters, we have the tanks, we have the tiles, we have the bullets. So what we will be needing is a new code to translate this JSON and the map we will take as input, the map and the image, to cut the pieces of the image that we want for each element that we want. So here I define a size for each font and the elements in it. I have started starting X and starting Y, assuming that we will remain on the same row. I have a starting X and a starting Y. The second row will be for the tanks. Each tank has a size of 32 by 32, assuming we are only talking about squares here. So the elements is the tank of team 1, level 1, the iteration 1, because when we want to make an animation of the tank moving, we will iterate between -1 and -2 as a last prefix. So this tank would be as representing team 1, level 1, and the first of the two tanks. Because when I already said that. So we have two tanks for team 1, two tanks for team 2, which both represent level 1, and 4 tanks for team 3, which is the enemy, 1 for level 1 and 1 for level 2, 2 for level 1 and 2 for level 2 to be precise. The starting index as X is 0, the starting Y is 8, which will be the cumulative from the above 8 pixels for each font. The tiles, starting Y is 40, which is 32 plus 8. The starting X is 0. The size of each tile is 16 by 16. And I provided name for each of them: brick, steel, blue, aqua, and tree. For the bullets, the same principle applied: 40 plus 16, 56. The size of it is 8. In the next after the next episode, I will make the code to read each of them. So loading JSON, we have a function that would load JSON. We provide the URLs and we take the JSON and handle it if you want to. Loading audio is very simple. We only make a new audio, provide the URL, and it will be loaded. When we want to play it, we just sound.play or any other variable name. So far we have 3 assets in our folder: 1 sound, 1 JSON, and 1 PNG image, which is the above one. So I will introduce the global JS now in order to have everything sorted out before I introduce the assets handler. Global JS will be imported in the index.html, so it will be so every other class in JavaScript will have access to it. So here we have the project assets. If the assets are moved elsewhere, we can just change this variable, or if we want to provide the prefix, which is like http etc something / assets, we can just using this, and every other will have it as a prefix. So we have an array of JSON files with a name like key value, sounds, images, and here we have the entity. Entity is also a key value object. We have the assets, we have the name of the entity, what is the image of it, and what is the map. So this is the entity that we will be used to make our objects for the tanks and tiles and bullets. So the most important one that we will be talking about today is global.assets. We have now 3 assets. Images are from the above loaded here. So what asset manager does is use the above mentioned loader functions, an additional function which is the load asset, which will be firing upon the start of our page in order to have access to all of our assets that we need from the beginning. So what does here is iterate over all of the images URLs and add an add the image by name, by the URL name, iterate of all the JSON files, add them to the assets.json, all the sounds, assets.sounds. Finally, we would have something like that if we are to global.assets. We will have here the images, loaded image by name, by the URL as a key, the image as a value, JSON, the URL as a key, the value is the JSON parse, the sounds also, which will contain audio objects. This would be the complete asset manager, the load image function, and the load JSON function, in additional to the load asset function, and get load status, which will be helpful for us if want to know what is the loaded status, because I'm using localhost now. It's very fast, but if we have a piece of if we have many pieces to load, it would take a bit longer depending on the network. Right now it's only 3 images, so it's very fast, but I'm representing here the percentage of loaded images in the main. So how to use it? We add global in our index, and we import asset manager in main, and fire the load asset. And if we want to know how much has been loaded, we can get the function get load status, and it will provide us a percentage of what is the percentage of the loaded assets. So the complete new main now is we have a new line here. We have a new function start, which we will be called upon the finalization of the last line of the constructor. We can add also other stuff here. When we make the update, we will draw the current time since we start like before, but I added a new line here, loaded percent, which will be presenting what is the percent of the loaded assets. This would be the conclude of this episode. I am also working on episode 4, but will take a while. So this is all. Thanks for watching. Good night.